Anya, you are first. Firstest. Greetings, fam. Greetings, friends. Let me pop out this chat. Let me pop lock and drop it. Okay. I think we're almost all situated here to chit chat with everybody. Hello. How are you guys? Turn that down just a tiad. Skyrunner. No, I am not. I told you, my friend, no disrespect, but we're not going to be reading creepypastas. This is and if you see by the title, this is online dating stories, guys. So for all of you who have not had very much luck in the romantic sector of life, you might be able to relate to these. And those of you who are looking into it, you might be a little bit deterred. I am not deterred. You like this music? It's called Liquid Drum and Bass, Liquid D&B, from Sound Territory. I just love this stuff. It's cool because it's like chill, but it's also like fast-paced as well. Do I have any scary stories? I honestly, for dating, no. You know, I've been fortunate in that realm. The extent of my scary stories with dating are the ones that your Tinder Trap of Doom story is a dating story. Let me find that one real quick. This may be actually relevant. I remember it being in the subreddit. Here's a link to my story called Tinder Trap of Doom. A Tinder spooky dookie story. That's a long one, my boy. And it's a creepypasta. Yeah, dude, that's like a novel. Oh my god. Holy hell. I've been scrolling for the past year here. And it's also not safe for work, which is not a big deal. I just, yeah, it's a lot of, mainly it's just the length, I think. And then if it's not good for people under 18 and all that kind of shit, I probably would not read it. No disrespect, but all of those ticks are kind of against it right now. But I appreciate you submitting. I appreciate you wanting to get your story out there. There's a lot of other creepypasta narrators out there, such as Creeps McPasta, Mr. Creepypasta. You got Mr. Creeps. A lot of creepy fellas. Creepy Rice. Yeah. Creepy rice balls. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 5 says, anxiety is a bitch, my bitch. Hi, I hope you're having a lovely day, everyone, especially you, Let's Read. Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you for the 5-er. Appreciate that. Thank you. And KFC Man, what's good, bro? We're always seeing you in the Discord, but I feel like I never get to hear from you. But I honestly appreciate you. Appreciate you always being there, man. Thank you for the 3. Alec Vega with a 5 says, hey, another scary story party. Got my squad back. We ready to get drinking on. Hopefully not too much. Be safe out there, man, with this virus. Yeah, old Corona-chan's. Corona-chan, bring us thine disease. Let Corona-chan please pass. Please pass us. Have mercy upon our nation and our world. Corona-chan is the great meteorite that passes every every decade, and we must face it again. Hey, Emma, what's up? And Kashi, hey, Kashi. Kashi, what are people got some quarantines going on? Honestly, my area, I'm in a college town area, and we got the students kind of on hold until April. I could potentially see that extending for a while, but I don't know if anybody's actually falling into the realm of actually being quarantined. Teresa Ajan with the 2. Thank you. It says your message is retracted, but if you have something you'd like to convey to me, just at me there. I'll be sure to read you ASAP. Kira, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. My hope is that last time we had some issues with the live stream. Oh shit. Molly with the 5. Thank you, Molly. She says, guess who? Missed you, hon. Molly, how are you? What have you been up to? I saw you post some selfies in the Discord. It's always good to see your beautiful face. Hope you're doing well and staying healthy. If you ever see the corona, if someone sneezes, the number one technique, if someone sneezes like directly at your face, if depending on how quick your reaction time is, you can actually karate chop your way through the droplets. Like the sort of centrifugal air force should disperse all virus kind of around you, essentially killing the virus in the process from the convection of the heat. It actually burns it, like whenever the virus is an atmosphere and you're an asteroid just burning through it. Now normally the atmosphere would burn up the asteroid, but you're actually destroying the atmosphere of the coronavirus with your karate chop. So guys, when it comes to corona, just say no. Corona cannot infect you without proper consent. Skyrunner, I will not be using your story for the 9 trillionth time. It's too long. It's too not safe for work. It's a creepypasta. That's 3 strikes in the overall direction of where we're trying to go with this video. No disrespect to you. Thank you for sending it in. Appreciate you. Weston's gonna centrically dart in my face. Thank you. Fart. Oh, you're gonna fart in my face, dude. It's the same thing. I think honestly, Corona Chan operates similar to a fart, like fart gas. If it's going right towards you and you can see it, which, I think Corona can actually be seen with X-ray glasses. So if you have those available or have that vision, available from birth, you should be able to witness it coming at you and just right through it. What I've been trying to do is going into nursing homes where people are most susceptible, and whether or not they're farting. It's hard to differentiate, visually whether or not something's a fart or something's coronavirus. But that's why they kind of need me in these nursing homes, so I can go there and just plow, like pretty much keeping the majority of people over the age of 65 alive in this nation. But that's the burden I bear in this world. Frostwitch, thank you. Thank you for being here, guys. We're hitting a little over 200 people. Another 9 minutes of me saying insane shit about coronavirus should about do it before we get started on this. I hope everyone's having a good day, staying healthy, and washing your butt. They say about hands a lot. The boomer remover, yes. That is what they call that, but not when I'm on watch. A lot of people concern themselves with washing their hands for 20 seconds, but not many people remember, if you go into a public restroom, that washing your butt is not illegal. That I know of. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a legislator, but I have yet to find out personally if you can or cannot be arrested from washing your exposed ass. Pardon my English. Not sure if anybody has any sort of insight on that or not, but... That's right. Well, that's the thing, is that everywhere's out of toilet paper, so what do they expect to happen? This is everybody who hoarded toilet paper, this is kind of your fault. Me getting completely naked in a public place. It's nothing that I could have avoided doing, really. It's just I'm acting out of necessity at this point. It's for my personal health, is what I will say in a court of law. Cheyenne Dory Bob with another 5 says, I was just at Walmart and an older man had a pack of Corona, cracking jokes saying, don't worry, he's got the last one, will be over soon. That's true. I don't think anyone's thought of that yet, actually. If I don't think anybody over the age of 55 has made that joke either yet. Honestly, if you have a dad and your dad hasn't made a joke about Corona or drinking the last Corona away to save society, then is he even a dad? Is he even a proper boomer? Use your cat as toilet paper. Pradeep used to be an all-white cat. And after using him as toilet paper for years, he's become completely midnight black. Jet black, as they say, when it comes to the colors of feces. Because I've used him as a wiping pad for so long. Kenzie, you're going to post a story soon? Nice. Yeah, guys, if you have a story, check out, if you need to know anything, social media, stories, where can I get my story? Where can I follow you? Can I listen to you on podcasts? You absolutely can do all those things, all linked down below. Oh, Trevor, you're a patron. Well, you will be the first person, besides everybody getting to listen to the live stream right now, who will get the finalized audio for all the stories. Yeah. You'll get that first on Patreon for only $1. $1 a month. An old buckaroo. I'm out of tea. It's okay. No virus in West Virginia. Hell yeah. That's the nice thing about the very rural areas, is isolating yourself is kind of goes hand in hand. Jay Wilson with the 2. What's poppin', Jay? What you been up to? Give you 3 reasons to pay $5 and you'll join right now. Shit. Well, obviously, some very, very sound, intelligent, empirically proven, to the best of my knowledge, information when it comes to fighting global pandemics. That's number 1. Number 2, probably my contribution to, like I said, the senior citizen community, not only when it comes to, defeating Corona Chan in their midst, when they don't even see it. It's like a spirit. It's like a foul vapor that I use my martial arts skills to thwart, alongside keeping that place relatively non-stinky, because, the foul vapor of Corona Chan is kind of essentially the same, I would say, material is the best word to use, as a fart. So that's 2. Number 3, I would say, maybe like just to sort of, because somebody think of something. K-Noob, what up, member? You're the best, thank you. And Claire Doherty with the 2. Katie Coburn. You'll hear it soon. I'm always like ahead on the notifications thing, so I can never quite time it up right. Usually I wait, but Katie, thank you so much for becoming a full-grown pizza and becoming a member of the Butter Sock Cult. If you don't have those ready yet, that'll definitely keep you alive through this, what was previously considered, there it is, a flu season, but now it's Corona-chan season, which I think will be every day for the rest of our lives. Just kidding. This too shall pass. Miss Molly with the 5 says, I heard a not safe for work story was attempted to be submitted. Does this mean I can submit some smut? Hey, as long as it's not a complete novel, I think we can leave that up to discussion. Now that's what I call COVID-20. Robomoto. Danny, it drives you crazy not knowing what I look like. Well, there is a certain place you can go, should you so desire. It's called Discord, and I've got selfies there. Discord's been a good time. I have been trying to, when I join the chat, the voice chat, to play. I'm going to try to play some more single-player games, I think, because you can actually stream on Discord, which is actually a way better streaming thing than all the other streaming services, and the fact that it's just like one button click and super reliable. Obviously, you're only streaming to a few select people in that scenario, but hey, you get some private sessions. Axeman, what is good? Joel looks like my foot. This is true. But goddamn, does Axeman have a beautiful foot. Leslie, what's going on? Oh, you're old. What's Discord? So Discord is kind of like, what would you guys describe it? It's like Skype, but if Skype had like communities you could join. So it's like you can join communities, and then there's different, you can join voice chats on there, kind of like Skype, with a group of people, various different ones. Or you could be one of the many lurkers that exist that just go in to stare at what I look like. Mark it down for my eventual doxing / canceling, coming very soon. And there's also a lot of memes. If you're into memes and you're looking to refill your ammunition for that, which is also a known preventative measure and borderline vaccine against Corona-chan, I would say get in there and gobble those up quick. Yes, Skype, but tolerable. That's a good description, Mr. Dachshund. Guys, 10 seconds. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, go. Okay. We're going to be kicking it off. We're going to be switching over to the much appreciated, much loved Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse to set the dark ambient mood. Thank you again to Robin Mikalsen for creating some amazing background animations for as we read some spooky stories. I kind of wish I had like a really, really good like transitioner thing where it could transition the audio a little bit more seamlessly rather than me just scrolling the YouTube wheel or slider down a little bit. But either way, no big deal. I ain't no DJ, bro. K-Noob with the 5. Thank you, K-Noob. What's pop-a-loppin'? Oh yes, Jamie's here. Hello, Jamie. We got the mods in the house. Jamie and Cassie holding it down. She's got the link to the Discord. Should you guys desire to join, go in there with an open mind, open attitude, meeting some friends. It's not always going to be the most poppin' zone of all time, but hey, I've enjoyed it so far. It gives me a place to wander to whenever I've been quarantined inside my 2x2 cubicle of my room. And if you have too, I'd say give it a whirl. All right, guys. Like I said, you got a story, submit it to reddit.com/r/let'sreadofficial. Follow me on Twitter, Let's Read Creepy, Instagram, let'sread.official. I am on not the tail end, but I am in the midst of 9,000 plus followers on Instagram. If I can get to 10K, I'm fairly certain I can finally share out Which reminds me, I need to share out this stream on Twitter, which I can't believe I totally spaced on doing. Let me do that real quick. All the twatterites out there will now know that I am streaming, which is like 4 people usually. But I will be excited when I can finally share the links over on Instagram. I just think it would be more convenient, you know. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure most of you guys, if you haven't, you get notifications to your phone and all that kind of stuff. But Intoxicating Soul with the 2 says, please say hello to Robomoto. Hello, Robomoto. What is Intoxicating Soul your representative? On behalf of Robomoto, I please would like you to say hello to him. Well, hello. And Kimberly Castillo with the 5 says, keep it up. Thank you, thank you. Skyrunner, I think you got timed out because you just keep spamming like the @ you know what I mean, where it's like @ let's read. I know last time you said that was sort of instinctual. We're just gonna tone that down a tad because it's like a big, bright, distracting. Hey, there's Sam. What's up, Sam? Welcome. And Lucy, hello. If I get to 10K on Instagram, don't forget me. I don't even know what Instagram I mean, it does help, like, you know, to let people know when stuff's coming out, but like, how do people even don't people make money on Instagram and stuff? Like, what do these meme pages do, you know? I guess if you get to like over 1 million, if you get to over 1 million followers or something, you probably get more sponsorships more often, but like, you don't really make any money just from Instagram by itself. So you kind of, and then they sort of, it seems like they punish you. Rob Hart Moldruck, that's a cool name. Became a full-grown pizza. A member of the Buttersock cult. Thank you, Rob. Welcome. Alex B, see you later. Yeah, I don't really know how, like, it seems like on Instagram it kind of punishes you unless you, like, post all the time. So I don't really. Does anyone run like a successful Instagram page and know like the ins and outs of it? Because it does interest me to a degree, but at the same time, like, tis it worth it? All right, guys, enough rambling. How about I get into this first story? Lube the lips. Pop my hips, and we'll get to it. This is hands down one of the creepiest experiences of my life, and probably most This is hands down one of the creepiest experiences of my life, and probably the most in danger I ever was, even though I didn't realize it at the time. I'm a 19-year-old female. I live outside of a medium-sized Virginian city. Even though we're only about 40 minutes away from a decently sized city, our area is still very rural and unpopulated. I had been in community college during the time, working toward a nursing degree. Like most young women who hadn't found a good boyfriend or husband yet, I turned to internet dating apps. I was a bit hesitant about doing so, but I really wasn't in the partying scene, and there weren't any guys that I already knew who I was interested in, so Tinder just seemed like the logical option. At first, I didn't have very much luck. It was pretty bad. The first month I was on there, I got nothing but invitations to one-night stands and creepy guys asking to do all kinds of horrible things. There were a few guys that tried to act smooth, but it was very obvious that they were only interested in getting me in their bed. The only positive thing to come out of it all, up at that point, was that I had made $50 selling pictures of my feet. Joke all you want, but $50 is $50. At a certain point, I realized that I either needed to lower my expectations or find another place to find dates. I decided to give one of the less perverted guys on there a try. He didn't wow me very much, but he seemed like he was a nice guy. He told me that he had a job, came from a nice family, and finished college. We met at a coffee shop in my town and hit it off from the beginning. We were very compatible from the start. He was compassionate, driven, and very smart. Those were all qualities I was looking for in a guy, and He looked a lot better in person than he did on his profile picture, as surprising as that... Whoops. As surprising as that is to say. Dating apps are full of spammers and fake profiles. Hey, I would agree. It is fucking annoying. Especially, like, I've seen ones that, like, I don't even know. They just, like, whether they steal the identity... Or, no. Like, they have girls that... Or maybe girls or guys that are, like, streamers, but they, like, stream, you know, sexual things, or whatever the fuck. And then they try to get you to come to a website and put, like, your you know, like, credit card information and shit. Which is, like... I remember that happened to me once where I actually thought I had, like, some legitimate connection with, like, another human being, you know what I mean? And then that went down. And then, yeah, there's other, like, pretty obvious, like, spam accounts and stuff. And internet dating can be quite a annoying process that I think a lot of people give up. But if you are a normal human being out there that are looking to date, I wouldn't say give up and keep giving it a whirl. Though there are a lot of creepers out there too, or like this person said, just trying to get in their bed. Your local bars or dating apps. You know, that's the weird thing. Yeah, it's like if you're not into drinking, you're kind of Scrooge. But I guess, you know, that is the social lubricant and all that kind of shit. But yeah, feet money. You know, you can always do some feet pics. Those were all qualities I was looking for in a guy, and he looked a lot better in person than he did on his profile picture. As surprising that is to say. Fuck. I fucked that up. Someone has to keep track of my... You need my credit card information and social security. Do you need the 3 digits on the back, too? As surprising as that is to say. We eventually drove around in his car for a few hours just so we could talk. What did we talk about, you might be wondering? Conspiracy theories. It was like the moment we left the public, he turned into a conspiracy theorist nutjob. When he first started talking about the government listening to our conversations, I joked with him and said something like, "Okay, Alex Jones." He didn't take kindly to this lighthearted joke, and there was a little bit of tension for a few minutes. Eventually, though, he went right back to blabbering about the government and aliens. I'm not going to lie to you. I was halfway interested in some of the things that he was saying because they seemed at least a little true. But some of his conclusions just didn't line up. Didn't make logical sense. It was like he could get you from point A to point B, but when he went straight from point B to point X for no reason. We eventually got off topic and things went back to normal for a short while. We started talking about our past relationships and some more intimate details like that. We really bonded there, and I felt a weird connection to him. As strange as it may have... We really bonded there, and I felt a weird connection with him. As strange as he may have been, I felt like I could be there for him. We had gone on about 2 or 3 dates before I started asking around about him. I wasn't big into the whole gossip scene, but I always want to know everything I can about someone that I'm dating. Most people I asked around town that I knew said that they had never heard or met him before. This was a little strange considering he lived in this town and seemed like he would have met at least a few of these people. The only people that I had found who had heard of him had some really strange stories to tell. One of them went like this. I guess he had rented an apartment that was on top of a beauty salon in town. At least according to this person, he got really violent one day and started stomping around upstairs and yelling. It wasn't like he was angry, but it seemed more like he was trying to talk himself into doing something. And what was he saying? He was chanting, "Kill them, kill them." The whole thing seemed... Hay is for horses. That is very true. But I don't want people to confuse that there are other things horses can eat, such as apples and butt. Kill them, kill them. The whole thing seemed a little ridiculous. I wasn't sure I believed it, and I just convinced myself that this couldn't have been the same guy. Sure, he was a little weird, especially with the conspiracy theory thing, but he seemed like an otherwise normal human being. I kept this in mind during the next 2 or 3 dates we went on. I tried picturing him being the kind of person that would do something like that. Wait, what? I tried picturing him being something that would do something like that. We're flying. Wait, what the fuck? I tried picturing him being the kind of person that would do something like that. We are flying off the handle for some kind. Okay, I don't know. It was a bit of a grammatical mistake. Yeah, he might be MK Ultra. That'd be funny. But aren't we all? Wink, wink. I tried picturing him being the kind of person that would do something like that, flying off the handle for some kind of reason, and I just didn't see it. Couldn't imagine it at the time. And oh, how wrong I was. One Friday night after I finished all my homework for the weekend, he texted me. He told me that he wanted me to come over. I honestly wasn't in the mood. I was really tired from class and just wanted to be alone for the night. I put my phone down and walked into the bathroom so I could shower. When I got out, I had 53 missed calls. I got worried that my mom died or something. I looked at all the notifications, and they all came from this guy. I checked my text messages, and he had repeatedly sent me the same sentence over and over. It said, "I need your help right now," and it was in all caps. Unsure of exactly what to do, I gave him a call. He answered the phone and seemed extremely panicked and worried. I finally got to ask him what was going on, and he told me that he was worried that someone had broken into his house, but he couldn't find them. I guess he was home alone, and this had been going on for about 30 minutes by this point. I told him that if he couldn't find someone else in his house, then there probably wasn't anyone else there. It just seemed obvious to me. But he didn't buy it. He was thoroughly convinced that someone was in there. He told me that he had heard a door smash. Whoops. Whoopsie daisies. Allison says, I went on a date with a girl I met on a dating app 2 weeks later. She was arrested for killing her ex-girlfriend. Bullet dodged. Holy fucker. You have to write that story, Allison. That's scary as hell. He told me that he heard a door smash open on the other side of the house, and when he rushed over there, it was wide open, and he thought that whoever had smashed it open was still there, hiding, waiting for him to relax so they could jump out and attack. I started asking myself whether or not he was in a healthy state of mind. I wasn't sure if I believed that his door had been smashed in. Maybe he really is crazy, I began thinking to myself quietly. He kept begging and pleading with me that I needed to come out there and help him. I didn't have a gun, and I was just some girl. What was I going to do? I decided that I didn't want anything to do with this guy anymore. I blocked him on everything and just kind of hoped the problem would go away. I tried getting my mind onto happier things. I figured that I was just going to watch my favorite movie, The Lion King, and just eat some ice cream. Before I left to get some ice cream, my mom asked me if I could stop and get her some cigarettes. I agreed. I was happy about it because I knew that I would have to drive by his house tonight. I didn't think that he was crazy enough to do anything about it or even notice, but it still made me a little uneasy to think about being closer to him like that. There was a lot of traffic about a few minutes ahead of his house, and when I finally passed it, I saw police cars everywhere. My heart dropped. I started feeling guilty. I instantly thought that somebody really had broken into his house and tried attacking him. I pulled over on the side of the road and started making my way to his house. I asked one of the policemen who was on the scene what was going on. He told me that the guy who lived in this house had taken his mother hostage and was holding her at gunpoint. I was shocked. He wasn't being attacked. He was the attacker. I ran back to my car, slammed the door, and drove away as quickly as I could. That really freaked me out that night. And ever since, I've wondered what would have happened to me if I had gone to his house when he'd asked me to. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured, and the police got him into custody after 3 days. He's in federal prison now. It was hands down the scariest experience of my life, but as bad as it may have been, I still have a Tinder profile. Yeah. Tinder's not all that bad. So you guys have many of you guys had school cancellations and all that kind of stuff? Also, if you do, like, how long is it going to be? Like 3 weeks or a month or some shit? Darkside, thank you. Thank you for the positive comment. Oh shit. Also, guys, do you have any like? I know that the channel revolves mainly around the voice. Hey, Sean, what's up, dude? What's up, bruh? Holy shit, Angelica, you got 6 weeks. Rob's got 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Deb's got a week. Caleb's got 3 weeks. Fry's gonna cancel me. Basically all of California. I guess that makes sense. I mean, if it's a heavily traveled location, it would, and obviously the most populated state, I believe. It's like the population of California is the same as pretty much all of Canada with like 40 million people. Even the recognition is canceled? What's recognition? Is that like graduation or some shit? Wait, KFC man donated. What the heck? Oh, there it is. Sorry, how did I miss that? I was just like staring intently at the chat. KFC man, thank you for the 3. This is my hero. My hero. There goes my hero. 6 weeks. That is actually knucking futs. It's so weird, But I think, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'm not always a fan of everything he has to say, but he is a relatively level-headed individual, and he made a good point when he's doing his talk show rounds, saying that, we as a nation, we might, if we adhere to appropriate, hashtag social distancing, socially distance yourself. Now, I'm not saying that's always has to be the case, but like as the disease, the virus, and its ability to spread is, I would say, potentially at its peak, and at the same time running its course with those who are infected, who may not even show symptoms or demonstrate symptoms for a period of time. I can't, you can look that up. I don't want to like give you guys false information or even try to spread fear, because that's not what I'm trying to do at all. But I would say in this sort of circumstance, he made a good point that it's almost a test within our culture to see if we can adhere to, basic hygiene and, our ability to essentially ride this out, so that within a period of time, Corona Chan will pass just as quickly as it appeared, and then who knows, maybe a decade later it'll come back with a fucking vengeance. Just kidding, but Neil gets triggered if you mention Tesla in a positive manner. Yeah, I don't really know his perspectives on Tesla. I'm infected with a corona bot. Go out, citizens. Lick all the doorknobs. It will be fine. Go give your grandmother a hug and sneeze in her mouth. It should be okay, I promise. It's a social norm. Whoa, oh, sorry, I blacked out there for a second. Hope I didn't say anything weird. Yeah, there you go. $135 round trip to Havana for spring break. Dude, everything's on sale right now. That's what you got to think about it like. Reina, no, you didn't miss much. You missed the first story, but it's actually a really good story. So hopefully all the remainder ones will be just as litty titty. You're corona free if you don't test for it. I know, it's like perfect. All right, so back to internet dating stories. This is number 2. Yeah, if you want to avoid getting corona, just buy Land Shark. There you go. Sneeze on all your enemies. I'd like to preface this story by telling you that I was always a very good kid growing up. My name is Mike. I was always nice to people and always followed all the rules. I never drank alcohol, smoked cigarettes, Did any other drugs, never partied, never even had a girlfriend or did anything inappropriate with girls. So when I tell you the story, I want you to remember that this was during a phase of my life when I was really questioning reality and going through a serious identity crisis. With all that being said, let's get into it. So, I considered myself bi. I like girls, and I also find boys attractive. I don't seem gay or feminine or anything else, and if I didn't tell you, you probably would never guess. And it's not all guys. There are just a few that I find myself attracted to. And after reading about it online a couple of years back, I realized that it wasn't a big deal. That sometimes you're just attracted to the same sex a little bit. I never had the opportunity to be with a guy. I only ever thought about it. I was fairly shy and had a hard time making friends and relationships, so I did what any sane person does. I created a few internet dating profiles. At first, I was only looking for women. I was definitely interested in dating a guy, but I didn't really want that. Didn't really want to that bad. Baby bye bye, baby bye bye bye, sexual. Africa is hit and they have it. Uh-oh. I wonder. That is kind of interesting as it reaches those particular continents and that kind of thing that might not have the most appropriate responses to a pandemic. I am curious how the disease will mutate or spread and things of that nature, but okay, sorry. I was definitely interested in dating a guy, but I didn't really want to that bad. I knew that there was going to be a certain stigma attached to our relationship. It wasn't like we lived in San Francisco or anything and kind of had that social freedom, so I knew I was going to be doing myself a favor by simply dating a girl. After a few weeks of trying to find a decent woman, I found myself a little frustrated. The women that I met were horrible. I started simply matching with any woman I could, and all I got were... Wait, what's a Yugo? Yugo? U-G-O-S? Is that like a term for women? Yugo? Yugo's Pizza? Is that what it is? Urban Dictionary, Yugo. You got owned. Oh, maybe you meant to type ugly? Uggo. What the fuck? All I found were Uggos, which I had no idea that was a... Is that a... Am I showing my boomer, or is that just an actual term? I have no fucking idea. This guy just made this up. He was a Yu-Gi-Oh! All he found were Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, dude. I started simply matching with any woman I could, and all I got were Uggos, single moms, and thoughts. I remember getting an attitude about it. The women online just seemed like lower quality people, as rude as that sounds, and any of the decent seeming ones never messaged me back. And I feel the need to point out that I'm not ugly or anything. I'm fairly attractive. I'm not Brad Pitt, but I thought I was handsome enough to at least get someone of equivalent looks. And I guess I was wrong. I remember getting really excited at one point when a girl agreed to go out on a date with me. She seemed like a real catch and was incredibly attractive. No kids, great. But then when the night of the date came, she told me that she was having car trouble and her mechanic needed $500. She wanted me to loan it to her and she promised to pay it back. I blocked her and gave up on women for a little while. That's when I decided to make a Grindr profile. I mean, I didn't have anything to lose. And I'm sure there were plenty of decent guys in the area that could at least keep me company until I can find someone that would be a subtle long-term partner. The night I installed Grindr, I had a guy wanting to meet up. He was definitely my type. Tall, muscular, and not afraid to take his shirt off. We skipped the whole dinner thing and got right into the action. It was a really fun night, and I enjoyed myself way more than I ever thought I would. That was when I became semi-addicted to one-night stands with guys. Months went by, and I was out doing this every single weekend, sometimes even during the week. And I remember meeting one guy in particular that changed it all. That changed at all. Whoops. Yugo is a European term. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. And I remember meeting one guy in particular that changed it all. His name was Fred, and for someone who might be the most malicious person I've ever met, he had a very innocent and unfitting name. He was one of the few guys that wanted to do weird stuff before getting into it. He wanted a lot of role play, which was quite unusual and unexpected. He was extremely manipulative, and I don't know why I went along with any of it. For some reason, I just couldn't say no to him. He was sadistic, domineering. It made me feel horrible about myself. I ended up giving him my number, and we started having regular encounters. He told me that he didn't want me seeing anyone else, that I was only to see him. Shit, my roommate's using a blender, like, the fuck? I never heard him use a blender until, like, for a long-ass time. They say the Africa didn't get hit that bad because they were still set up for the Ebola, so they were ready. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Ebola was pretty much fresh in that area. It's weird sometimes when you hear about distant issues and you never really anticipate it to being something that affects you, you know. I'm from the United States, so it's like sometimes you hear about stuff that's happening far away and you sort of constantly exist in this state of ignorance and sort of general decadence, I guess you could say. And then you also look back on, like, you know, you look at the rest of the world and you look out through time and it's like, man, we've really had it pretty easy when it comes to the general blight that affects the majority of mankind from the dawn of time. It's crazy. It's actually wild sometimes. Pet noises, a blender. Yeah. I think he put my cat in there. Just kidding. Pradeep's right here. Pradeep's curled up in a ball, sleeping for his 23rd hour of the day. He told me that he didn't want to see anyone. Sorry. He told me that he didn't want me seeing anyone else, that I was only to see him. I couldn't explain it to you if I could. I've thought a lot about this in retrospect. The only thing that I can imagine is that he had been slipping drugs into my system somehow, which may very well have been the case. Whatever reason for it, he always got his way with me. And then, things started escalating. The foreplay became even more extreme. It started resembling the freaky stuff you see on the internet, like the really freaky stuff that you wouldn't even dream of doing in your wildest fantasy. I remember being choked one time and passing out. I had something in my mouth to prevent me from saying anything or stopping him in any way. I couldn't resist. After that, I tried telling him that I wasn't into this kind of stuff, but he refused to listen. He told me that he didn't care what I wanted. As horrible as that may have seemed, I still didn't really do anything about it. I just let it happen. Things climaxed when he tried forcing me to kill a dog. He had already psychologically manipulated me in so many ways that I almost did it. It was like he had read a psychology book on how to program someone into obedience. Because I'm not going to lie, I came really close to doing it. I remember punching him in the face and literally running away. I blocked his number and did everything I could to avoid him after that. He's tried to contact me a few times, showed up at my workplace a couple of times, but I've decided to stick to a firm no. I told him that I wasn't bi anymore and I didn't like men, especially him. Looking back, the whole experience makes me really sad. It was really traumatic, and I didn't even realize it until after it happened. But he was using the role play as a way to psychologically condition me, and there's a part of me that's really scared that he's going to do it to someone else. I tried calling the police and reporting him before, but I never had any evidence. I got a restraining order on him last month, and I'm hoping that's the last I ever hear from him. I know all of that went from 0 to 100 quick, but it's been a while. But I think after this, I'm gonna stick with only dating girls, if I even date at all. Jesus Christ. That was, yeah, that did go from 0 to 100 real fucking fast. Bye, 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 bye. What the fuck? Hey, let's go on a date. Hey, can you kill this dog? Jesus criminy, dude. Kelly, what's going on? There's still that meme going around. It's like dab. It's like dab. You know, back when dabs were sick as fudge, and sneezing into your elbow destroy all bacteria. Okay. Where did Corona get its name from? Corona is also an alcohol. Oh, that's a good point. I don't know. Corona is like it's a zoological, or is it zoological? A zootic? I don't know what the term is exactly, but it just essentially is a type of virus that can kind of harbor and is prevalent to mutate within animals. More specifically, like rodents and bats are able to mutate these types of diseases. That's why they test them to see on bats and stuff a lot, to see how they mutate, or to what degree they can mutate, and then it can cross like the sort of human to animal barrier, which is unfortunate. Today's time. I know. I thought about that. I was like, I could do COVID-19 stories, but I don't know where I would get those, and I feel like it would be kind of bad, like capitalizing on a world pandemic per se. Bat soup. Yeah, ew. Of course, you can make anything soup. It means crown. The bacteria is kind of spiky. Oh, okay. Corona means crown, and the bacteria. Okay, so like, I see. Because, yeah, you've seen the close-ups on it. It's like a circle with, like, not necessarily tendrils, but spiky things coming off of it. So I guess that makes sense. Queen's going to be right back? All right. Take your time. Meanwhile, we're going to get into story number 3. Numero 30. Stop testing on animals. Yeah, good luck with that, man. Really highly doubt it. I mean, it's interesting, actually. I mean, the sort of scientific world where it sort of exists politically. I mean, I guess all scientists sort of have different political perspectives, but you tend to start thinking of like animal activism sort of like hanging on one side of the political spectrum, but then also like a lot of like certain maybe government funded, I don't know, scientific academia existing in that realm as well. But that's also suffice to say that the origins of this virus and its sort of mutations within bat specimen was in China, so in Wuhan, so at least that's what the narrative says. I mean, I have no fucking idea. I'm just some idiot in front of a computer. And so, I mean, I presume that they're sort of the civil liberties of bats are not quite as present as they are here. Oh shit. Oh yeah, use the blender, and now my roommate's using the shower, which you guys might not hear it, but I have 2 microphones in front of my face. The one for recording, it will pick up the shower noises. But how's everyone's day going? I started the stream a little bit earlier today. Normally I wouldn't start till about 9:30 or something like that. Kit Kat says Wuhan actually has a chemical plant where they produce chemicals, and I think that they produce this as bioterrorism. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it was some sort of like, bio, you know, what you want to call it, like a biotesting lab of sorts that was definitely within the sort of circumference of the initial outbreak, which was said to have occurred in like a fish market, or at least the origins of it. You know what I mean? So some people had speculated within that sort of conspiratorial realm that the bioweapon could have been released from that lab into a fish market. I mean, really, all you would have to do is just dump it, and then if you knew that the virality or the spread of that disease was, who knows to what degree, more prevalent than, say, the common cold or the flu or whatever. Yeah, you just dump it in there. It literally kind of reminds me a lot of the how Resident Evil, started in the movie and that kind of thing. Kit Kat, I need to come home with you. Will you protect me from Corona-chan? A little rain and relaxation. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, I don't know. The eating of bats. I guess when you live in an area that is overpopulated, perhaps potentially in poverty, your choices for food obviously are going to be rather limited, especially if you don't have sort of like a competitive free market or an economy that can kind of back a competitive free market and enough sort of resources to provide and land for all of those people. It's a very complicated circumstance. I think people tend to forget that, as the population increases, so does the scarcity of items required for each people. And then obviously a lot of people like to live in abundance. I mean, that's kind of a natural aspect of mankind, is we like to hoard things, hoard them, get as much as we can in preparation for the eventual event, such as toilet paper. I do like those toilet paper memes. Those are good. Just fill your butt up with toilet paper. You won't even just hibernate. Maybe that's the whole plan there, is people are just trying to hibernate till the end of summer or something like that. We're switching up the hibernation seasons. We're just stuffing our butt with TP and seeing how far we can make it, taking like 6 bottles of ZQuil and passing out till this all blows over. Your stores are empty on the shelves. Yeah, that is pretty wild. Talk about a stimulus package, am I right, guys? Allison, you're in self-quarantine for 2 weeks. Yay me, interesting. So that's, by self-quarantine, do you mean you just chosen to do that yourself? Yeah, just wrap yourself in toilet paper armor. It's actually stronger than diamond armor. Much stronger than diamond armor in Minecraft. Hashtag stuff your butt. Dude, there's a lot of things you've learned from this coronavirus. It all originates from the booty. Fear is contagious. That's very true. As you can see, the media has had a large impact on people's perceptions towards how they see this virus, rather than kind of like filling people in on like how the virus progresses, the demographics that are affected, comparative data to previous viruses and things of that nature. It's like, buy all the fucking toilet paper you can, Jesus fucking Christ. You're gonna be diarrheaing for years. Just lay on a room full of toilet paper and just let it all out. And then you see it affecting the stock market and things like that. I don't know. I mean, we are just herd animals, us as humans. We're just a herd pack animals. I mean, obviously, I think we're different than most sheep, hopefully. But yeah, the fear is very contagious, almost more viral than the more viral than Corona itself. Off Dev with the $5 says the best quarantine would be a toilet paper fort. Hell yeah, dude. Build one with your kids. Easy peasy. Great fun for the whole family. Thank you for the 5, Off Dev. Anxiety poos are a thing. Well, that could be a good point, especially since every time I drink coffee, that's usually when it seeps out. If this becomes a zombie virus, that's a good... I think a lot of people have been waiting for that day. But I don't know. I used to, whenever I briefly was part of a stand-up comedy thing, and must have been in 2012 or something, I had written a joke. I wonder if I could find those sometime and read them, but I probably can't right now. But basically, it was just like talking about like people being really excited for the zombie outbreak, and I'm like, I was like, the zombie apocalypse would be fucking terrible, like, and some joke about having to essentially, blow your grandma's brains out before she eats yours, you know what I mean, or something of that nature. And it was just like people were excited for the zombie apocalypse, but they seldom remember the fact that they're most likely going to be one of the hordes that are dead, mindlessly roaming the streets. You're not just going to be like one of the lucky people from Left 4 Dead, Okay, I think we can jump back into these stories here. Being in a relationship with a bad person can really take a toll on your soul. I dated a girl for 3 years. I did everything for her and really gave her my all. And in return, she lied. And in return, she stole, lied, and cheated. I genuinely went out of my way to avoid spending too much time with other girls. What was she doing? Well, I'm sure you can figure that out. I was angry. I had always been the nice type of guy. Not that weirdo that would randomly buy some girl flowers and expect her to date me, but the kind of guy that understood a thing or two about people and knew a little bit of kindness goes a long way. I really did pride myself on being a nice guy, but I guess my ex took it as a weakness. So without putting on a whole pity party for myself, that was what led me to downloading a few dating apps online. I wanted to just date as many girls as I could and, I don't know, get revenge in my mind, if that makes any sense. I hated feeling like I was being played. I didn't want to necessarily hurt anyone, I just wanted to raise my self-esteem. My brother, who had always been skeptical of my ex-girlfriend, was very supportive of the whole getting out of there and doing whatever I want with whoever I want. Well, I ended up getting myself in the biggest dumpster fire of my life. There were points when I really thought I was in genuine danger. It was quite a nightmare, and in retrospect, I never should have gone down this path. Someone being a bad partner to you Someone being a bad partner to you doesn't justify what I did, and I take responsibility for my actions. 2 weeks into the whole internet dating thing, and I found it pretty easy to find a couple of girls that wanted to date me regularly. And for a 1-month-long period, I was dating 3 girls at the same time, and they all thought I was only dating them. One of them was basically as interested in doing it as I was. Oh, whoa. Ooh, woo. One of them was basically as interested in doing it as I was. She was pretty... Fuck, dude, I keep scrooging up. Oh, yeah, people talking about zombie. Yeah, what's your guys' favorite zombie movie? I really like Shaun of the Dead, because I thought it was, like, amazingly directed, great cinematography, great writing, very funny, but it was also serious, too, at the same time. I was like, shit, all fucking zombie movies should be told from the perspective of, like, comedy, you know what I mean? Why are people saying numbers? Those are the amount of mistakes that I've made thus far whilst recording. One of them was basically as interested in doing it as I was. She was pretty easy. Man, it's like such a tongue twister for some reason. One of them was basically as interested in doing it as I was. She was pretty easy to handle. There was another one that was a tall brunette, and she was truly something else. I kind of wish that I had met her under different circumstances because she was probably the best one of them all. And then there was the blonde one. She wasn't an actual blonde, one of those bleach blondes with country boots types of girls. Let's call her Stephanie. Stephanie had a very bad background herself. She told me about her past where she had been abused by her father and had multiple horrible boyfriends. There was something very off about her, and I figured that I would find out what that was sooner or later. And oh boy, did I find out. As crazy as Stephanie was, she was definitely a Stretch my tongue. I'm trying, bro. As crazy as Stephanie was, she was definitely a perceptive little girl. She could read into my thoughts in a way that I found very surprising. There were at least 2 separate occasions that she had asked me if I was seeing anyone else. Of course I lied. I knew that if I came clean that she was going to end it, and I wasn't done having my revenge on the world just yet. I remember taking Stephanie out for a date on Friday night. I took her to a decent steakhouse. I wasn't trying to be nice for anything. I honestly wanted to eat steak myself. When the date was over, we hung out and talked for a little while, and then we had some fun. By the time I was ready to head home, it was only 10 o'clock. When I was getting ready to leave, I had already been texting the other girl that was really easy, getting her ready for maybe a 12 a.m. time of fun. Everything seemed like it was going as planned. I got over to the other girl's house at 12:15. She was home alone. We started getting ready to go to the bedroom, and we heard a loud knocking on the door. She had no idea who it could have been. Her parents were out for the weekend, and she rarely had people come to her house like this. She answered the door. I was waiting in the bedroom when I heard her fall to the floor. I rushed out to see what happened. It was Stephanie. She must have followed me here. My heart dropped to the floor, and I felt extremely panicked. I looked down to see the girl, and her face was bloody. Must have been punched in the nose or something. And then I saw something in Stephanie's hand. It was a hammer. She had tears running down her cheeks, but I also saw hate in her eyes. I'm sorry. That's all I could murmur out before she threw the hammer at me. It hit me in the back, left a horrible bruise. It was honestly mortifying. I was worried that she was going to pull out another weapon of some kind, a knife or maybe a gun. There's no telling with her. The other girl was on the floor, completely unconscious. Stephanie started asking me a bunch of questions. How many other women were there? How long has this been going on? And why? I also noticed this theme with the questions she would ask me. She always related it back to her not being enough. Like the reason I was cheating on her was because of the fact that Stephanie didn't fulfill my needs or something like that. I'm not going to lie to you, I came clean completely. Beginning this whole charade felt wrong from the very beginning. If it hadn't been for my brother's encouragement, I never would have gone through with any of this. I tried explaining to her that I'd just gotten out of a really bad relationship and wanted to be a player for a little while. We talked for a little while more, and then she asked me something that really caught me off guard. Do you still love me? I told her yes. Honestly, I didn't really care for her very much, but I knew that I was running serious risk if I said no. I figured that I could just end this entire dumpster fire in a couple of days through the phone or something, kind of guarantee my own well-being there. I talked to Stephanie. Oops. Hey, MEB with the 10 says, I wish I could stay, but I have to go work to stock shelves to keep up with the grocery store craziness. But I love your videos and your voice. Hopefully next stream I can say thank you, MEB. Be safe out there. Stock them shelves. Honestly, that'd be so funny. Like, as you're stocking the shelves, people are just in line. Just like picking it out of your hands as you go. But thank you for the 10. Wait. Where was I? Oh, whoops. And whoops. Are we on 3? Yeah, we're on 3. Sorry. Mistake counter. I think we're at 20, it seems, by the numeros. David, don't date hammer bros. This is true. I talked Stephanie down. She became more calm. I told her that she should get back in her truck and go home and try to relax. For some reason, she still wanted to be in a relationship despite all of this. I told her that I still loved her and got her back into her vehicle. And when I did, I noticed that a hammer was not the only thing she had in there. I definitely saw a shotgun and what looked like a gallon of gasoline, and I'm only assuming that she also had some matches. Suffice to say that I was extremely terrified of what this girl was capable of. I brought the other girl to the hospital. She didn't remember anything. I tried convincing her that it was some random stranger that hit her in the face, and somehow she was dumb and somehow she was as dumb as she was easy. She was totally fine, didn't even have a concussion, just, unfortunately, a broken nose. I ended the relationship with the easy girl and the tall brunette. I knew that breaking up with Stephanie was going to be a little bit more difficult, though. I deleted all my social media and blocked her on everything. I wasn't sure what else I could even do. She only knew my name and maybe what my car looks like, and that's about it. It's been a couple of weeks since this whole thing, and thankfully, Stephanie has not reached out since, and I'm really hoping she never finds me again. I can understand the pain of being cheated on, but the way she hurt that other girl was outright wrong. But I guess some people react to things differently. I can only hope that Stephanie gets better after this whole ordeal. Maybe get some therapy because, God, she needs it. MEB with the 2 says it actually is like that. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, just pulling it off the truck and like everybody's out there in their car taking it. So weird. Such a weird circumstance we're going through. We got World War III and now it's coronavirus. What is going to happen next? Isolation from the Mighty Boosh. Mighty Boosh is a good show. Such a, like, I don't know, I just love the British comedy shit. It's always written so well. And it's pretty ridiculous. Ashley Jade Fetters with the $10 says, I'm raising money for a lawyer for my boyfriend who was arrested for a small amount of pot in January. I can't post a link in here, Joel, but I was wondering if you'd help me spread the word. Yeah, I mean, I can try to if you want to, like, tweet me or something like that. You know, I can... I don't know what I can really do. I can like retweet or something, or but is it like a GoFundMe or something? But thank you for the 10. Yeah, I'll see what we can figure out, you know. That's ridiculous. Small amount of pot. I hate that shit. Cops got nothing better to do than fuck people over for something that pointless. I created a Tinder after I moved out of my parents' house. Anyone out there can understand how hard it is to date people while living with your parents. It doesn't matter how old you are, how experienced you are, or how many times you've been with someone, you will always be a child in the eyes of your parents. And that's why after my first long-term relationship ended while I was in college, I decided to wait until I officially moved out to pursue anyone. Oops. Hey, and Baby Girl with the 5 says, love the stories. Thank you, Baby Girl. Thank you for the 5-er. It's funny, people saying about their parents always looking at them as kids. I totally agree with that. There's a funny story about this one guy that stayed with my buddy and his family for quite a while, and he had an older brother as well. And, you know, at this point, he's in his mid-20s. His brother's like 30 or something like that. And I just remember, like, they had finally kicked this one guy out for just kind of being a general freeloader guy, even though they did like him as a person and, you know, essentially grew up with him. They're just like, he struggled with a lot of different things and it was time for him to move on. And it was just so funny listening to my buddy's mom, like, later, like, saying, like, and he would bring marijuana into the house, and I just cannot be having that kind of stuff around my children? I just, that shit always just made me laugh because I'm like, oh, you're talking about your like 20 something, like late 20s, like, and also early 30s children, that should be essentially out by now anyways. Both of them, both of them probably heavily into alcohol and that kind of stuff, and God forbid they are ever exposed to a little marijuana as adults. It's just really funny hearing that. My children. Oh, ooh, woo. Ooh, woo, woo. That's why after my first long-term relationship ended while I was in college, I decided to wait until officially... Fuck. David, I got arrested for having my own prescription in the correct bottle and everything just because it said may impair driving. Oh, like... What? They came into your house and found that? Or oh, was it in your car or some shit? And that's why after my first long-term relationship ended while I was in college, I decided to wait until I officially moved out to pursue anyone seriously again. A little background about me: I was 21 years old at the time, and I graduated from a four-year... Man, I am all sorts of tongue-tied right now. Fucking hell. Little background about me: I was 21 years old at the time, and I graduated from a four-year university a little early. I was never reckless or wild at any point in my life, although I really wanted to be. I always felt like I was holding back. So when I moved out and started living on my own after college, I decided to get experimental with my love life. That started out as going to the club twice a week, but I realized that I was only attracting perverts there. That's why I created the Tinder profile. That way, I could at least vet guys before I let them into my life. I remember looking at each profile carefully before swiping left or right. I didn't want to be too superficial because I know that some guys have redeeming qualities even if they don't look like supermodels. I remember learning a lot about men in my last relationship. One of the things I learned was that guys don't really know how to dress nice or present themselves in a nice way. A good outfit and a nice haircut can make such a difference. In my last long-term relationship, my boyfriend went from a 6 to a 9 with just those changes. I remember I was swiping around on Tinder one night while I was watching Netflix. It was exactly what you'd expected. A true crime documentary. Love those. And I remember feeling a little bugged out because I saw a face on Tinder that I recognized. I had never seen the guy's face anywhere other than Tinder, but I felt like I had seen him multiple times now. It was a little weird because I remember swiping left the last time I saw it. It was like I was seeing him a second time or something. That time, I went out of my way to read his name. Tyler. He had a very narrow face and looked like the kind of guy that likes to go to biker clubs on the weekends. He looked really rough. He had this long black hair that looked extremely unkempt, and he had a really mean face on his profile picture. Those were enough indicators that I knew I was not interested in this guy. I swiped left and checked out a few more profiles before losing interest and going back to watching this Ted Bundy documentary. A couple of days had passed. I hadn't been on Tinder for a while. No particular reason, I just didn't have any time for it. I landed a really nice job after college in the local laboratory, and I was working pretty hard. Between having that new job and moving out, it was a little difficult finding time for the whole dating thing. So this is where things got a little leery at first. I logged back onto Tinder and started checking out more guys. I was extremely surprised to see that Tyler was back. I didn't match with him or anything. He didn't super like me or anything. He was just there, recommended to me again. I remembered looking around online to see if Tinder would just show you the same few guys a couple of times, and I didn't find any convincing answers. I remember reading a few comments on Reddit that said it's possible to see the same person more than once, but only if you swiped a lot and ran out of people to see. And as much as I used Tinder, I didn't use it enough to run out of people to match with. I lived just outside of a mid-sized city, and my local community was large enough. I thought it would have been extremely weird to have run out of people enough to see this guy multiple times like this. And here's the other weird thing. I'm a girl. This is supposed to be a guy problem because there aren't enough women out there. There also weren't any other guys who repeated. Of all the guys on Tinder, the weird biking guy with greasy hair and probably carries a knife on him, he was the guy I kept having to see. There were probably 3 or 4 more occasions when I had seen his profile. I remember getting frustrated. I purposely matched with him and then blocked him before he had a chance to... shit. Okay. This chick's really reiterating the fact that this guy is a repeat profile. Okay. There's an awesome Western called Death Rides a Horse. It's not about zombies or relevant or anything. It's just awesome. Oh, that sounds fun. There were probably 3 or 4 more occasions when I'd seen his profile. I remember getting frustrated. I purposely matched with him and then blocked him before he even had a chance to message me. I figured that would get rid of the problem, right? Guess again. Because the very next day I was on there, I saw him again. Exact same profile picture and everything. That was the point when I started getting really freaked out. I took a break from Tinder for a few days. I tried telling myself there just weren't too many men in the area, I guessed. I couldn't think of a more logical reason. Next creepy incident happened when I saw that exact same profile picture and name try to add me on Facebook. I don't use Facebook all that often, and it was the first time I probably used it in a week that I logged in and saw this. I got a little braver than I normally am and decided to accept the friend request just to see what he would do. And you guessed it. He messaged me saying that he had seen me on Tinder. We hadn't exchanged 5 messages before he was asking me what restaurant I wanted to eat at. I explained to him that I wasn't interested and didn't want to date anymore. He said that I was lying and started threatening me. He started describing horrible things he was going to do to me. They were mostly... fuck. What's another word for sexual? Because I feel like that's always something that triggers YouTube's bullshit. Sexual synonyms. Synonyms. Sexual synonyms. Sexual synonyms? Coition. What the fuck is coition? Procreation? Probably not that one. It was... wait, what the hell? Yeah, there's no good ones that are just... because it's just basically the word... what does it say? They were mostly sexual in nature, but... oh yeah, lewd. Good idea. Raunchy. Yes, perfect, guys. Thank you. Erotic. They were mostly lewd in nature, but some just seemed a little violent. Now I know that I probably shouldn't have accepted his friend request to begin with. I probably should never have messaged him either, and I should have blocked him right then and there, but I didn't. In a weird way, I was so curious and interested in this. I agreed to meet him in a parking lot of a strip mall in town. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I agreed to it. I wasn't consciously planning on pursuing him in a serious capacity, but then again, here I was now, driving to some strip mall for a really freaky guy. I remember being excited and nervous like I hadn't been in a while as I drove over there. It was such a thrill, and I'm not sure why it was either. I pulled in at one end of the parking lot and stayed there. Jesus, this chick... this is like, I don't even know, dude. This chick's got some fantasies or some shit. She's feeling like saying it like, ew, I don't like him, and then just let me go meet him in a parking lot real quick at midnight. Whatever. Just gonna wear something nice. Yeah, gonna play Naked Twister in a parking lot at night, a back alley, whatever. Just want to try it out, guys. I pulled in at one end of the parking lot. Okay, shit. I pulled in at one end of the parking lot and sat there for a few minutes. I pulled up my phone and opened Facebook Messenger. He had already messaged me a minute ago asking where I was. I told him that I was almost there. I lied. I really wanted to see him before he saw me, and thankfully I did. I spotted him about 6 car lengths away. He hadn't seen me, and my windows were pretty dark, so I doubt that he would be able to see inside. I sat there in complete silence, studying him. He looked even rougher in real life than he did online. His hair was even longer and more disheveled, and there was one beat-up old car. Rusted, filthy inside and out. Death Trap was spray-painted on the driver's side door. One look at him, and one look at that car, and you knew it was his. My better judgment finally kicked in, and I drove away. I blocked him on Facebook and closed my Tinder profile. Again, I'm not sure what I was really expecting to happen. Maybe some part of me wanted to date a wildly unhinged bad boy. It wasn't long after this point in my life that I had met my now fiancée. We have a really happy and loving relationship, and that probably wouldn't have happened if I had gone along with that degenerate. Whatever would have happened, I'm really glad I don't have to find out. Damn. It took till Death Trap, tattooed on his fucking forehead, she came to her senses. Honestly, maybe that's what I should get tattooed right on my face. Fucking Death Trap. What's up, guys? It's Death Trap. Bring me home to mom. What's going on? I'm just a misunderstood bad boy. Just a little unhinged. Who knows, maybe once in a while, you just get in my trunk instead of the passenger seat. Like, whatever, you know? Just put a little duct tape on your mouth. Okay, alright, see? I got this, like, you know, these handcuffs. You're going to put those on. It's for safety precautions. Just chill. It's me, Death Trap. Death Trap. Death Trap. Ooh. Ooh, Death Trap. I love the way you bury me alive, Death Trap. What a dreamboat. Dude, Death Trap honestly should be a new Disney prince. I know Disney's closed right now with Corona, but I think Death Trap should be the next guy to be wandering around entertaining kids. I think she wanted a little more than being spanked, to be honest. Death Trap Senpai. I want a slice of that senpai, Death Trap. When a girl, she thirsty. What can you say? She'll put herself life and limb on the at risk. Go to some great lengths for that juice. Dude, someone needs to write some smut about Death Trap. Fan fiction. This is a pretty weird story. I'm a 24-year-old man. I was friends with a 29-year-old woman who had 2 kids. Her mom and my mom were best friends at the office where they worked a couple of years back, and our families became pretty close. Me and this girl, let's call her Angela, became quite close. We were never romantically interested in each other. We just had a very compatible sense of humor. She was a single mom, and she honestly struggled a lot. Her former husband seemed like a really good guy, but the pressure of raising a kid broke him. He tried convincing Angela to get an abortion a week before the baby was born. That was pretty messed up. And then he started gambling obsessively. Angela told me that he gambled away their combined savings account, which was about $8,000. Their marriage lasted for about a year or 2 before he finally just disappeared. And as bad as it might be to say, she was better off without him. Raising 2 kids might not be easy, but raising 3 is a lot more difficult. Angela and I had become good friends after I started helping her take care of her kids. I honestly felt bad for her, and as much as her family tried to help, they didn't have enough time outside of work to make a big difference. I didn't do a lot, and she was always appreciative of what I did do. She was really lonely and have been looking for a guy for a while. She had the great idea to go on Tinder. I remember her telling me about this one really handsome guy. I wasn't exactly sure what to expect from the first time I met him. I hated him. I had a really bad feeling about his motives. The situation was just weird. Now, don't get me wrong, Angela is a great person, and any guy would be lucky to have her, but she was a single mom. It didn't matter how nice or attractive she was. She had 2 kids, didn't make very much money, and if it wasn't for her family and friends, probably wouldn't be able to keep her life together. I always expected her to either go for an ugly, wealthier guy that could take care of her, or a guy with kids of his own. Something like that. But this guy that she was dating now, he was a freak. He was attractive, had a good job, and seemingly had everything going for him. And here was the kicker. He claimed to have never dated a girl before, and he was 28. And just think about how weird that is for a moment. Every time I saw them together, it was so obvious to me that he was faking his personality in order to impress Angela. And the sad part is, she totally bought all of it. She ate it up with a shovel. Call me a jerk, but when something seems too good to be true, it normally is. I knew there was going to be some kind of dark demon behind this little act. He was going to turn out to be a drug addict or something worse. I was honest with Angela about the whole situation from the very beginning, and she really didn't appreciate that. She started telling me to mind my own business and that I should just be happy for her. After the 3rd or 4th time that I said something to her, she told me that I should stop being jealous, and that I was in love with her. Angela was definitely not my type, and I was not attracted to her. It made me mad that she insinuated that I was, but after that, I stopped helping her and created a lot of distance. About 2 weeks had gone by before I started feeling worried about her again. I decided to look into the guy that she had been dating. I knew that he was some kind of freak, and if I could somehow prove it, then at least I could save her some trouble. This is going to sound ridiculous, but it really was this simple. I Googled his name. I looked around on the first few pages in the results and found his Facebook account. It was a public profile, and I could view everything that he commented on and posted. But here was the weird part. The profile said he was in a relationship with another girl, and it was another single mom. I also noticed that he was quite active in a few LGBT communities online. But here was the weird thing. He had a couple of posts about the stigma against... Oh shit. Fuck. It's got the word pedophile. Oh my god. Oh, maybe I could say... What the fuck do they have? I'm not saying like that would be a big flag to YouTube. I mean, people talk about that shit, and it is just part of the context of the story, but it is also just like kind of like one of those words that I feel like a system would pick up and be like, what? What the fuck? Is this some Elsa Gate shit? You know what I mean? What's that term they fucking use? Tacos, yes. I literally have to type in synonyms for this. This is going to get me put in a database. Pervert. Psychopath, degenerate, child molester. Perfect, guys. Good alternatives. Diddler, yeah. Batman's greatest enemy. Kid filler, minor attractive person. Map, okay, map, yeah. I guess that would be much more PC bullshit. You get a couple of posts stigma against minor maps, or yeah, I'll say that. Maps or minor, yeah. He had a couple of posts about the stigma against maps, or minor attracted persons. It had been within a year that he posted a 5-paragraph rant about how children can be in love with adults and that age was just a number. I found it really disturbing and immediately knew that he had some bad intentions with Angela's kids. I got together with Angela and made sure that her mother was with us when I told her. Her mom was very street savvy, and I knew that she would side with me on this issue. I didn't want Angela to think that I was making stuff up. I took as many screenshots as I could, and it showed it to both of them. And it showed it. Say nunts? Is nunts a thing? PC is where dreams go to die. Quite true, quite true. Hopefully pedos also. I got together with Angela, yeah. I got together with Angela and made sure that her mother was with us when I told her. Her mom was very street savvy, and I knew that she would side with me on this issue. I didn't want Angela to think that I was making stuff up. I took as many screenshots as I could, and I showed it to both of them. First of all, Angela didn't even know that he had a Facebook. He had told her that he didn't believe in social media, and even worse, he had watched her kids alone before. Angela's mom freaked out and started lecturing her about creepy men. I could tell that it was really tough for Angela to accept the truth. I know it's hard. She really wanted to believe that a nice, smart, wealthy, and attractive guy wanted to be with her. But this guy clearly wanted to be with her kids more than the other way around. Angela apologized to me for being an idiot about this situation, and she thanked me for going through the trouble to find out. Angela told me that they reported him to the police and she broke up with him. She asked her kids multiple questions about potentially being abused, and it seemed like nothing had happened, thankfully. I don't know how close it came to being a bad situation, and I'm just really happy that I was smart enough to Google the guy's name. If I hadn't done that, her kids could have potentially been kidnapped or worse. All of the information that I used to convince Angela and her mother that this guy was dangerous came from one little search. A search that Angela apparently didn't do herself. It also made me realize how gullible people are when they really want to believe something. If you want to lie to someone, don't tell them something that's difficult. Tell them something that really deep down. If you want to lie to someone, don't tell them something that's difficult. Tell them something they really deep down want to believe, and you'll have a much easier time of convincing them. Angela told me that she was going to take a break from guys for a while. I went back to being a good friend and helping out, and everything has been fine. Let's nunts. What's a nunts? I thought that was like a British word for like an idiot or something like that. And everything has been fine since. Oh yeah, click that like button if you haven't already, guys. How can you make child molestation PC? I'm not making it fucking PC. I'm trying to put a fucking word into my story that's not gonna goddamn red flag YouTube like, is this a pedophile channel? What's going on here? Jesus Christ. I'm not trying to make the concept fucking PC. I'm just literally trying to, like, within the context of the fucking story. Jesus, man. Yeah, it just annoys me. I'm people like sit like because people jump on fucking anything to like accuse you of trying to like normalize shit or whatever. I'm not trying to normalize it. I'm just literally trying to read stories in my channel and to, you know, be fucking accused of like, oh, you're turning this into a PC. It's bad. The story as a whole is bad. It's the fucking word that gets triggered by an algorithm that I have to be careful of, bro. No, I'm sorry. I just, it's just annoying. It's like annoying. Like I feel like no matter, it's like when you tell people, it's like jokes on Twitter. You can say jokes on Twitter, but there will always be someone who just like extrapolates it to like the furthest possible nonsensical world they can create in their non-reality. And then you have to like, I don't even understand. Do some push-ups. Yes. It's like when like that's the same reason, like I can't say like, in my videos, I can't say like rape or all of that kind of shit because it literally gets picked up like immediately on YouTube, and then you get thrown into a category of like, not suitable for advertisers and all that kind of bullshit. And it's not that I'm like, it's not whenever I try to think of like another word for rape that I'm trying to PC or make rape as a whole normal to fucking anybody. It's just that I literally can't fucking say it. This happened a few years back. The worst thing I've ever gone through. Since this is going to be completely anonymous, I'm going to be able to tell you the entire truth of what happened. Writing this out has been a big revelation for me. I didn't realize how bad the situation was and how stupid I had been. It also made me realize I have incredibly low self-esteem and a horrible self-image. I've been working on those things since this experience, and I've been going through a therapy. I could say it on live stream because I'm not monetizing my live stream other than like donations or whatever. But it's like whenever I put it into a video, and YouTube has this weird little algorithm where they go back and forth. It's like, it's if you've hit these particular contexts too many times, and this is all through like just sort of like trial and error. You know what I mean? If you say that too many certain bad words or whatever too many times, you get thrown into that, that yellow zone, and then you can't like monetize your videos to the degree or at all. You know what I mean? So I apologize for seeming like rude there. It's just like, Lila, what's up? We have 2 more stories to go. You're in for the 6th story. It also made me realize I have incredibly low self-esteem and a horrible self-image. I've been working on these things since this experience, and I've been going through therapy regularly. After something like this, I really needed it. I was in my early 30s. I was single and didn't have any luck in finding a good girlfriend. Never had a relationship last longer than a year. I didn't know what I would be doing. I didn't know what I had been doing wrong for all the time, and a part of me started to believe that I was incapable of keeping a girl around. This was a couple of years back now, and I found myself looking for a potential partner on Craigslist. You guys have it easy these days with all the apps and stuff around. Dating on Craigslist was honestly tough. The dating scene on Craigslist in my area was populated enough that I had never lost hope in finding someone. I didn't have the confidence to approach a stranger and didn't even know where I would do that if I did have the confidence. Someone had posted on Craigslist that they were interested in finding a guy for a threesome. Like their threesome? I have no idea. Like, I'm just speculating whether or not I can say it, so I'll have to say, I don't know if I can say like ménage à trois. Ménage à trois. Someone had posted on Craigslist that they were interested in finding a guy for a potential group activity, if you get my drift. They claimed it was a girlfriend and a boyfriend who were interested in experimenting. I figured that I didn't have anything to lose, and if they turned out to be weird or something, I could just leave. I messaged them, and we got in touch. We agreed to meet and see what happened on one Friday night. It has been about 6 months since my last relationship, and I was excited to be getting some action. I met them at a bar in the downtown area of my city. The girl, let's call her Natalie, was very pretty, but her boyfriend wasn't the most attractive in the world. He was really overweight and pretty ugly, if I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't really care how he looked, though. I was more interested in her. We went back to their place, and things took a surprising turn. She told her boyfriend to go wait in the other room while we had our fun. I thought that this was going to be one of those group kind of things, and I didn't expect this, but hey, I wasn't complaining. After we finished, she started telling me that she was feeling really unsatisfied with her boyfriend. She told me that she'd been looking for another guy to come into the relationship who could better satisfy her needs. She told me that her boyfriend was honestly too obese to participate. I almost didn't believe her at first. She said it was a Oops. Yeah, with the school closings, do you guys get, is that, because I know with colleges they can do online stuff, but does does that mean you guys have to go into summer classes and that kind of thing? That would suck ass, especially if it's an additional like 3 weeks to a month or something like that. Oh, nice, Lila. You don't have to make up any days. That's nice. You're gonna have a lonesome. There you go. But she said it with a dead serious face and had clearly put some thought into what she was going to say to me. She told me that she would love to date the two of us and be in a polyamorous relationship. I told her that I would give it some thought. I basically got the vibe that I was going to be used, and that was about it. I figured that I couldn't complain. That's a dream for most guys. We had a couple of more experiences before we all agreed on what this was going to be. 2 months into the relationship, I moved in with them. I didn't interact with him all that much. We had a few conversations, but it was honestly pretty awkward. After all, I was only here because he was too big to really please his girlfriend. I'm sure that was in a healthy frame of mind to be in. As time went on, our relationship expanded. We had brought 2 more people into our relationship, a girl and a transgender. Everyone was always pretty nice and nothing ever happened without approval. I understand this probably sounds extremely strange, but it worked. At least it seemed to work. The entire relationship revolved around Natalie. We eventually started renting a house that could provide us all of our own rooms except for Natalie. She didn't have a room of her own. She would just sleep in a different room almost every night. I always looked forward to the nights when she slept in my bed. I also noticed that there was a dynamic where being nice to Natalie meant that she was more likely to sleep in your bed that night. So it turned into a big competition of who could buy her the most stuff or do things for her that would make her happy. I didn't see it at the time, but that's exactly the way the entire relationship dynamic was set up, and I completely fell into the trap. I remember buying these expensive steak dinners and cooking them for her in hopes that she would sleep in my bed that night. I remember when there was this one occasion when I had bought Natalie a new necklace, brought her home a special dinner, and did all of her laundry that day. I really wanted her to myself that night, but her original boyfriend had gone out of his way to pay all of her bills for the month, which normally didn't happen. Me and him started arguing, and things got a little confrontational. Thankfully, it didn't get violent. Natalie may have been a manipulative devil, but she was good at diffusing these tense situations. I remember a couple of times when we would sit down and have these group chats where we discussed what was on our minds. I brought this topic up. Brought up the topic. She's searching for simps. Searching for the simps. It's a new game from EA, The Simps. Everybody lives in one polyamorous house and vies for the attention of a solo female. Out now on Xbox 360, yeah. I brought this topic up and said that it wasn't fair how Natalie got everyone to do her favors. It felt like it created a competition and we had to compete for her love and acceptance. Now they said probably... Now they said probably been about 14 months of living with him. Oh, okay. Now it had probably been about 14 months of living with them and being in this polyamorous relationship. The night I said that, I could tell that she was extremely offended that I had even thought this. She stopped sleeping in my bed after that. The dynamic had completely changed. It didn't matter how much effort I put into getting her to sleep with me after that, she never did. And as desperate as it might sound, I really needed her love and acceptance. I started feeling really bad about myself and I couldn't stand it. It was about a month later when she sat me down and told me that it would be best if I packed my things and moved out. She said the chemistry just wasn't there anymore. My heart was broken. I couldn't believe it. As strange as it may have seemed, I have really grown accustomed to this lifestyle, and I couldn't imagine not living this way anymore. I was about to go from living with other people to living alone, and that night I honestly thought about ending my own life. I went for a drive right after she told me that and almost drove off the bridge. I started going, but something in me snapped and I decided not to. When I got back home, I packed my things, went to a motel room for a few days, and found an apartment to live in alone. That was a really dark time in my life. I reached back out to my parents and ended up moving back to my hometown. The whole ordeal was miserable and had nearly driven me to ending my own life, and I found a decent job and started going to therapy, and that's when I had really started. This is all a big episode of The Bachelorette. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys know anybody that's ever been in a relationship house like this? Besides The Bachelorette, obviously. I found a decent job and started going to therapy, and that was when I had really started to connect the dots. This relationship was never about new experiences or loving as many people as possible. It really was about Natalie making us compete for her attention. She had this savior complex and treated us all like we were less than hers. She had this savior complex. She had this savior complex and treated all of us like we were less than her, less than nothing sometimes. It was extremely psychologically manipulative, and I can't believe how easily I fell for it. It was only after a few therapy sessions that it all became so clear. I've been single since then, and I spent most of my time with my family now. My sister has kids of her own, and I've gotten really close with them. They are really nice kids, and a part of me really wishes I had kids of my own. I'm not sure if I'm going to start looking to date again. I'm not going to date again. I'm not really sure if I'm going to start looking to date again, maybe ever. It's been a few years since I moved back home, and I'm honestly really scared of ever trying to be in a normal relationship again. Whatever happens the rest of my life, though, I'm happy I at least still have a family that loves and accepts me, where I don't have to compete for attention like some kind of puppy in an animal shelter. That's funny, that's what I was going to say. They kind of said it at the end there, but I was going to say, it almost reminds me of, like, she's like a cat lady or something, and all of these are like her saved cats, vying for her attention. Molly says, I do know a few people who are poly and live in a home together. It works for them. Yeah, I mean, if you can make it work. Shit, man. I'm not like some like jealous rager types or anything like that. But I don't know if if I was actually seriously dating someone, especially living, I don't know if, unless I was just completely emotionally detached or whatever, and I was just in it for like, the physical nature of things. I don't know if I could ever really do that, but mainly because of, you would imagine somebody would get crazy jealous at some point and create some sort of rift in the polyamorous dimensions, Original Astrella with the $5 says it won't let you super chat curse words. Effing BS. Yeah, I don't know if that's just like I don't know if that's just on this channel or not, because there was like I have like a list of words that are like that are already like immediately blurred out. So sometimes if you send a message that says like fuck or shit or Trump or something like that, because to avoid all the nasty sort ofness or like the politics and that kind of thing, it just like has to be checked by a moderator or whatever. But I don't know if it tells you or not whether or not your message has been sort of blocked or whatever. Should you invest in cruise companies? Shit, I don't know, honestly. I imagine after this all blows over like a foul vapor in the wind, I'm sure the market will bounce back. But I know that the cruise companies are definitely going to take quite a hit here. At least just from the optics of everything. Yeah, Asherelli can't say bitches. Yeah. I can see it now, but it gives me the option to like show your message or hide it. See, now a moderator clicked it and showed it. We have a vaccine for depression, ladies and gentlemen. Let's read. Am I your vaccine for depression? I would hope so. Declared a national emergency. As long as they don't declare medical martial law, that's the only kind of thing that I worry, is that the government will use, much like any sort of crisis, that, or at least what's sort of perceived as a crisis, no matter what it is, unrelated to this, that the government will be using it to like implement legislation that just gives them more power. You know what I mean? I think it's always the same thing. Like the old political meme is like some person, like a politician with a gift, and they're standing in front of like a gift wrap place, and they're like, "How would you like this wrapped?" And like the one wrapping paper says for the children, and then the other one says national security. So it's like, obviously this would be a both of those kind of scenario, and then it justifies and allows the government to essentially outstretch their already looming tentacles into your life a little bit more. And I don't know. Let's hope it doesn't transpire to that direction. You're on the swim team. You haven't been able to go for weeks. It really sucks. You love swimming. Yeah, that is tough. I don't know much about like, you know, the ability of viruses to exist within sort of like heavily, you know, chemicaled water and surfaces of that nature. But honestly, at this point, I think it's just one of those things that it's going to be a hiccup in history for a little while, until hopefully it kind of blows past us. But honestly, we just had to keep analyzing the data to see how things are growing. It's unfortunate. We do want to minimize like the excessive presence of it, and especially minimize the presence on the older generation, and then also limit the number. Like, we don't want this to grow exponentially, so that the hospitals are inundated with people that they can't do anything for, but are forced legally to just take beds and stuff like that. That's why, like, I could totally see, like, if there was like some sort of like FEMA camp type scenario, I wouldn't want that. But it's like, around where I am, it's like we have a hospital and then like a lot of fields and stuff like that, and I could totally see them using those fields to sort of implement, like there's certain quarantine areas where they suck out the air so that like air can't escape and that sort of thing, to treat people, especially those who are like that are, essentially just need to be quarantined for a period of day or treated. But obviously that would take up a lot of like manpower and sources. Save us, Jesus, save us. Oh Lord. Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine it would get to that point. I would certainly hope not. Yeah, FEMA camps coming to a local Walmart. Yeah. I sound like Deadpool. I feel like I sound more deadpan than Deadpool. I thought deadpan is like, or Deadpool is always kind of sarcastic about random shit, random crap, breaking the fourth wall. I just don't really get the whole hoarding of toilet paper thing. You know what I mean? Like, why that specific item? You know what I mean? Like, why toilet paper? Like, there's not even been talks about, like, I mean, there are certain places I'm sure that are on lockdown or whatever, but why? What about like beans and rice? Like, does nobody think they have to eat to then utilize that toilet paper? Like, Unless the toilet paper, like we said, is just creating a strong Minecraft armor. Imagine Joe in a Deadpool costume. Imagine me in a Venom costume. That's what I want you to imagine. Jessica has been my best friend for a very long time, and when she started dating this psychopath, I knew that she was in danger. But she wouldn't listen. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. I am a 22-year-old male, and this story is about my friend Jessica. Before you make your accusations, yes, I did have feelings for her. We had dated once, and it completely changed the dynamic of our relationship. We had been best friends before, and then we dated, and she told me that she didn't want to lose me as a friend. Our friendship never really was the same after that. I made it clear that I had feelings for her, but I guess she just didn't feel the same way. I still don't know why she wouldn't date me, because she lost me both as a friend and as a boyfriend. This had been about a year after we tried dating each other. It was only 2 days, and it was pretty strange. Dating someone that you've been best friends with for a very long time is tough because you have to start acting a certain way. It's not like meeting someone on Tinder. Do you have this relationship and all of a sudden You have this relationship and all of a sudden there's a romantic element to it, and it can be tough. And I guess I didn't try hard enough. Anyway, we still agreed to remain friends after that experience, but again, it didn't really go back to normal. Life continued and we slowly but surely drifted apart. I'm not sure if she had dated other guys at that time, but she didn't tell me about them if she did. She didn't tell me about any other men she was romantically involved in until she started dating a guy named Aiden. This guy was a complete jerk. He wore this dirty camouflage hoodie all the time and always smelled like beer. I only met him a few times and I really disliked him. It was one thing to be dating Jessica, but he was borderline abusive. Like, he started telling her how to fix her hair and how to dress. He starts controlling every aspect of her life. It wasn't very long into the relationship that she told me that he didn't really care for our friendship. She told me that she still wanted to be friends with me, but I knew that this was going to be an issue sooner or later. She completely changed her haircut. Now, it was short and blonde, and she also started getting tattoos. I always found this strange because she never expressed a desire to get a tattoo before, but I had a feeling in my tummy. Shrimp are little poop eaters. Oh, shrimp eat poop? I don't get why they need all the toilet paper either. What did they live on? Bean burritos and hot sauce. I feel like that would be at least reasonable, but unless you're wrapping the burritos in toilet paper, how much are you shitting? Maybe everybody in the world just had a sudden influx of Taco Bell and just all had to go at the same time. And this is completely unrelated to Corona. Did you ever think about that, media? Owned. You won't be able to see your best friend for a month because schools are closed. Are you trapped in your house as well? Is that like your parents can't? Unless you live way out in the sticks or something. Should learn to use a rag. I know. I always joked whenever we're in when I was in nursing and stuff that my one buddy before he became a nurse, he was a nursing assistant. And that's why, and I said, now Charlie's going to get you cleaned up, because, not to gross anybody out, but in nursing there's a lot of butt wiping and that kind of thing. And I was just like, Charlie's going to use his favorite rag on you, and that that there was just one single rag in the janitor's closet that he pulls out specifically to wipe every patient's butt. Now that would be cutting resources right there. They should get me on the planning committee. I always found that strange because she never expressed a desire to get a tattoo before, but I had a feeling that he was making her. She gradually started cutting out all of her friends and spent all of her time with Aiden. I asked a couple of our mutual friends about it, and they all agreed with me that Aiden seemed like a bad guy and that he was controlling her. Things have finally gotten to the point when I had enough. I made the decision that I was going to tell her that she needed to break up with this guy for her own well-being. It was very obviously affecting her life. She started doing things that she had never done before. She started showing up late to work, even started smoking. Like, literally, who does that? I called her on her phone one day when she was driving to work. She had a shift at 1 p.m. and hadn't woken up until 12-something, and she was late. I tried explaining the entire situation to her and how she had become this completely different person. I told her that I was worried for her own well-being, and that this guy was clearly toxic. She told me to screw off, and hung up. As you can guess, she eventually blocked me on social media and completely ghosted me. I'm not going to lie to you. It really hurt my feelings that she did that. It was one thing to hang up on me and not reach out, but to go out of her way to block me on everything just seemed a bit extreme. I was half suspicious that Aiden forced her to do it, but that wasn't my problem anymore. About 2 weeks had gone by when I honestly started thinking about her again. I realized that I was dead. Why do they call it COVID-19? I believe it's just like, in the way they label most viruses. Unless you're setting up a joke. I can't tell if that's a joke setup or not. But yeah, it's just like the 19th strain of the virus or whatever amidst the family of zoonotic or zoonotic type viruses, I guess. Bidets, I know, yeah. Get a bidet going. Yeah, why don't they call it COVID-20, baby? When we get in the sequel. I realized I did genuinely miss her and kind of wanted her back in my life. She had made it clear when she blocked me on social media that she wanted nothing to do with me, but it didn't stop me from sending an apologetic text message to her. I never got a reply, and I don't think she even read it. I was pretty sure that she had blocked my phone number too. At any rate, I found myself getting really curious about her. I knew that I should have stopped thinking about her at this point, but I just couldn't help myself. I created another Facebook account to be able to check in on her. I knew that she had the privacy set to open and she had my regular Facebook profile blocked, so the second one was the only way I could keep up with her. In a few weeks that we had been out of contact, she got 3 more tattoos, turned into the Pope. In a few weeks that we had been out of contact, she got 3 more tattoos, started posting memes about smoking weed, and even got engaged to Aiden. They hadn't been dating for 3 months, and they were already engaged now. I didn't even know what to think. I didn't cry or anything, I just kind of sat there for a minute and looked at her profile picture. It was a picture of her and Aiden sitting at the lake drinking beer. The more I looked at it, the more I had a feeling that she was completely a different person now. The look in her eyes had been a look that I had never seen before. I asked a couple of our mutual friends about her, and she didn't really keep in touch with anyone. There wasn't a big falling out with everyone like there was for me, but she just didn't reply to text messages or anything anymore. She was just too busy with Aiden. I haven't thought about her too much since then. I haven't reached out or anything like that. I'm not that desperate. She just isn't part of my life anymore. I find it so strange how you can just meet someone... Fucking hell, I can't even read. Can't read these words. It's strain identified in 2019. Okay, I guess that would make sense. So COVID, corona, and virus don't have a D, so corona... Gonna give us the D later on or what? Wuhan virus. The D is for die. The COVID die. I find it so strange how you can just meet some random stranger on a dating app, have them come into your life, completely change who you are, and then you eventually cut off contact with everyone. I never understood what about Aiden that made her go so crazy. She made so many radical changes in her life so fast. I don't ask about her. I don't ask about her anymore. It took all of this to make me realize that I had stronger feelings for her than I had previously thought. But that opportunity is gone now. Even if she broke up with Hayden, she's a completely different person now, and I'm not sure I could ever look at her the same again. I just hope that she isn't being abused or something. Hayden definitely gives me those vibes, which is part of the reason that I disliked him from the very beginning. But again, it's not my problem anymore. All I can do is try to move on with my own life. So yeah, that's the story of how I lost the girl next door. Decision... What? So yeah, that's the story. It's like a spelling error in the final sentence. Oh my god. So yeah, that's the story of how I lost the girl next door, decision drunken Tinder user. Decision drunken. What? Maybe what word would be automatically implemented for decision if you like a spell check or something. So yeah, that's the story of how I lost the girl next door. Okay, yeah, we'll just say 2A. So yeah, that's the story of how I lost the girl next door to a drunken Tinder user. I guess that's not that scary or whatever. But I don't know. It's whatever. It's still fun to listen to, I suppose. The Uwuhan. Uwuhan. It's the 19th strand of the virus. Okay, that's good. That's what I thought I heard somewhere, but the 2019 would have made sense to me. Wait. The 2019 would make sense to me too if that's when it started. Okay, so... Oh, okay. Co equals corona. Vi equals virus. D equals date 19. Okay. Interesting. That would make some sense. Some logical sense. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Oh, you're guessing. Oh, well, that was a good guess, I think. And I'm going to accept that as reality in my brain. Nightmare Dreams, what up? Jesus Christ is here. Hello, my Lord Liege. They were quite mediocre. Not scary, though. Jesus, remember last time we were on stream talking about God, and then the stream just cut out? Thanks for that. It is 2019 since it's the year a novel virus was found. Okay. Why the Chinese government create Corona? Because they had 10 minutes away from a wet market. Yeah, I mean, it's like it all adds up. But there was some really strange information I remember hearing about at Harvard University. There were students, like grad students, who were arrested because they were confirmed. And you guys can go look this up. It's, to me, it's more interesting than anything. But it was like kind of like, it all was part of like a sort of adjacent D equals diarrhea. That's true. Sort of a Jason Bourne sort of 007 type story. But like these Harvard grad students who were studying certain coronaviruses or whatever were found to be shipping their, or essentially flying back and forth to China to, and bringing their findings or something to the Chinese researchers or government or whatever apparatus was utilizing them. So they were, at least in the narrative, like literally Chinese spies, utilizing government grants, American government grants and funding and universities to essentially create what could potentially be like a bioweapon in another country. Now, to me, that does sound like a spy novel, but hell, I wouldn't be fucking surprised, you know what I mean? Sings boom, 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 I want you in my room. And that sounds like some creative lyrics. Well, guys, we're about to read this outro. I don't know if you guys can think of anything cool to say on the way out, so that whenever... Yeah, we got to 600 viewers. Heck yeah. Thanks, guys, for being here. How long were we streaming for? This was a solid... It feels like it went by quick. It had been going on for 2 hours and 14 minutes. I guess it's about normal. Sometimes I go for like 3 or whatever. Was everyone going this crazy when the swine flu and Ebola was a thing? No, I think they weren't. I would say the media definitely plays into it. Ebola wasn't really as present and viral as the current, the current COVID-19. And I believe even though the infection and death rate over the course of a year was pretty high with swine flu, it was something that you didn't really hear about, or at least they didn't generate as much of a insanity as the media is now. But I think statistically we're still kind of in the midst of it, but I believe that to a degree this response that we're having right now as a various nations, whatever you want to call it, I think our response to a pandemic has been relatively quick and wise. Maybe not as quick as we could, but it's better to get into the crazy now in hindsight. As long as, like I said, as long as the government's not going to utilize this to be some sort of like reason to further remove our legal rights or, step on our liberties and that kind of thing. I know that's kind of a generalized term, but I mean, hey, they use fear to manipulate people into being complacent with certain actions. So keep an eye out for that one. But basically, I think it's smart, at least right now, to have an intelligent and quick response to the current presence of COVID. You know what I mean? Because it's like I said, better hindsight is 2020, baby, and that's the year. So COVID 2020 hindsight. Hashtag bingly boo boobity boppity schloppity. Get your toilet poppity paper. Anyways. Let's read this outro. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let's Read Official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data. Located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends, and remember to wash your hands. Yeah, I was going to let you guys choose, but then that came to my mind as I was reading. I was like, remember what goes good with Corona? Oh yeah, washing your fucking hands. So, that is what I will use for the ending there. KFC man, thank you for the $2. Guys, you are amazing, as always. Thank you for joining me on this journey of reading some spooky online stuff. If you do go online to date or just date in general, be very careful, especially now since even just one kiss could kill you. No, I'm just kidding. Stay safe. Stay prepared. I don't know what any of that means, but the one thing I can say is that washing your hands is not that bad to do. And oh yeah, wash your ass too. So I love you guys. Like I said, follow me. Let's Read Creepy on Twitter. Let's Read.official on Instagram. Wish I could get those the same, but whatever. If you got stories that you want to hear read, go to reddit.com/r/Let's Read Official. That's the official subreddit. It's the best place to get your stories seen for the eventual subscriber stories, which, who knows, maybe they'll read those this coming Wednesday. So get them in now so that people can upvote them and you can interact with people, and then you'll hear them maybe soon. Maybe soon. But yes. I love you guys, and I shall see you all soon.